What's up, everybody? We are live on Adobe Radio every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, a new episode of Wesam's World. A new episode today with a very special guest. His name is Jake Lockett. I worked with him on Chicago Fire. This is probably one of the most talented human beings you'll ever come across in your life, not just acting-wise, but also martial arts, singer, dancer. The list goes on. Also an aerospace engineer, which, like, what else? You're like that one Asian dude who became like an astronaut, a Navy SEAL, and a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, hey, can you stop? Please stop.
I won't do any more, I promise. That's it.
The only thing that could maybe for me to keep up with you is drinking one of these Magic Minds, which I'm going to start off the show with.
I'm going to do one too then.
Oh, yeah.
That's tasty.
I always feel a lot better when I take one of these. I feel a little bit sharper, you know, without the crash of like a big caffeine thing.
Oh, man. The caffeine crash hits me hard. I have too much coffee every morning, and it's a problem.
How much? How many cups?
Well, it used to be like 3 or 4 a day,
yeah.
And then I got down to 1.5, 2 now. But it for a while, it was a struggle. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Of coffee. Not like espresso, like full-on 2 cups.
Well, espresso has less.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The coffee will come at you. It's funny you're talking about yerba mate. When I played rugby in college, I played with Uruguayans, and they were like, dude, they would drink that stuff in the van on the way to the games, to the matches, and I tried it. I was not a fan at the time, but I like it now. It's nice.
What about it didn't you like?
It's so like strong. It's so strong. I mean, and they did it, you know, I'm sure you have the same thing, but they were packing it with that metal straw, pouring hot water as we were driving. You know, it was they were religious about it for sure.
Yeah, there's a whole art to this, which I absolutely love, and
awesome.
I put lemon verbena from my garden and a little bit of Moroccan mint in there for a little extra, you know, taste and lemony flavor to it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. I'll learn from you at some point about that.
I didn't know you played rugby as well.
Don't anymore, so it doesn't count towards all that stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna just scratch it off right now.
Yeah, doesn't count.
Congrats, Chicago Fire.
Thank you.
Great numbers on the season finale, so that's wonderful. And you guys got renewed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome
season,
as well.
yeah.
When do you guys go back?
July 19th. Yeah. I mean, that's the plan.
wow.
Roughly July 19th. There's nothing like put in stone on that, but that's what we were indicated as the season ended.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, are you home base now, Chicago, full time?
Probably next season, like this upcoming one. I'll move there and move my stuff there. You know, it is like you like keep your feet in everywhere just in case. You never know what's going to happen, but it feels like home now. So I'm excited to like put some roots down there and enjoy it. You know, I just like got some land down in Texas, so it's cool to have a place in both worlds a little bit. It'll be fun.
That's wonderful. So you're originally from Texas,
yes.
For the listeners.
Yeah, from Texas, Central Texas. The town was like, I think when I was there, it was 135 people, maybe 34, and now it's about 160. So it's a tiny little town north of Waco called Aquila, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you to come on the show today. I think it's very serendipitous because some stuff happened with me and my students acting-wise, because I teach acting. Mm-hmm. And there were some great fights over the weekend. You're a big martial artist, so there's a very specific topic which I want us to get to here in a little bit with the mind-body connection and the importance with martial arts with that and with acting as well and how it correlates. However, how the heck do you choose to be an aerospace engineer and then go, you know what? I did this. Now I'm going to be an actor.
I don't know if "I did this" was the phrase that went through my mind. It was like I got my degree, and you know, it was funny. I'd never even ridden in a plane until I was in college playing rugby. Actually, it was my first flight, and then I just was good at math and I was good at physics, and like that stuff in high school made sense to me. I was very construction minded. Like my grandfather taught me and all my cousins how to weld when we were like 12, like the girls and boys. And I worked building metal buildings, you know, all sorts of stuff. And so when I got out, planes seemed interesting. My grandfather was a Air Force guy, and so that was something that connected for me, and kind of like the unknown even. And so when I went to college, I applied for it, I got it, and kind of never looked back for 4 years. Like went through that trudge, and then when I got to work for Boeing, I was there for a couple of years, and it's a great job. It was cool. I got to do stress analysis for a lot of the planes, like the big body 67, 777, 47, some on the 87. But it was a job that like didn't excite me at all. Like it was cool. I got to climb on the planes and like do molds and do stress analysis on all these little parts. Excuse me. But I wasn't excited. And, I didn't have a wife at the time. I don't have a wife now. But I didn't have a wife or kids.
So dramatic. I love it. I didn't have a wife at the time. Neither do I now, right now.
Oh, man. My girlfriend's going to really laugh at this. I'm proud of myself already. No, but I got there, and it just wasn't something I was excited about, and I didn't have that many responsibilities. And I'd always enjoyed performing, but never really practiced it. I did one play in high school. I was the reverend in The Importance of Being Earnest. And because the assistant football coach, who was also the principal, who was also the one-act play director, was like, you need this for your credits. You want to come do this? We need another person. I was like, all right, sure. So I went, and it was a comedy, as you know, and it was so much fun. Then I kind of let it go. It was funny. My dad, who was just here this past weekend, was like, you think you'd ever want to do this after the run had ended? And I was like, nah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Here we are. So yeah, it just wasn't for me. I think it's a great job, but it was a lot of cubicles and not a lot of windows, and wasn't the life I wanted to live. So the opportunity came, started working with someone that believed in me, and went on the journey.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you end up going to LA or just auditioning out in Texas?
No, I was actually in Seattle at the time.
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah,
Wow.
because that's where Boeing's commercial group is, up in Seattle, and so I was up there. So I started. Don't tell Boeing. I started taking sick days and going down to Portland and auditioning, and then started in theater there. I did a rock musical, and an original rock musical, and then was in one of their theater schools, Freehold Theater. Yeah.
I think for your safety, we'll edit this part out just so.
No, I love it. I love it. This is how it's going to be, by the way. I will step in it. It's not a question. It's a if or when.
Well, let me ask you this. First of all, did you watch the fight this past weekend?
Which one?
With Poirier and
I did not. No.
Islam. Okay.
No, I heard it was a pretty good battle. I saw some highlights from it, but I didn't get to watch it.
It was the most exciting fight of the whole night.
Really? That's good.
And for Dustin to shuck off takedowns and to just put up with Islam for 5 rounds. He went to the 5th round. It was the last 2 minutes and 13 seconds where he got choked out by a Darce. And it was just an incredible fight. And
that dude the fact that he even tapped is pretty amazing. Poirier.
Oh, yeah.
He's been known to just go out, right?
Yeah, I think the way the Darce was, usually it's a blood choke, but the way his neck was, it might have been one of those things where it's my neck really hurts.
Break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially with Islam's strength, because a lot of people talk about his strength. It just feels ridiculous.
Cool.
My students, 2 students from my acting class, because I've talked about jiu-jitsu and how much it correlates and parallels with acting, decided to come to class with me on this past weekend as well. And they're hustlers. They're trying to get after it. They're trying to be better actors. And one of them had a problem, grounding yourself as an actor. Yeah. You ever see actors that are moving around, or they're doing that half step and they don't know how to I'm like, what are you doing with your body? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I know, obviously. So they came, and she said something really interesting to me. She said, man, I didn't realize the huge disconnect between my mind and my body, because even simple movements, trying to just learn warm up choreography, I was like, oh wow, there are neurons that aren't connected there.
Yeah.
And so no wonder I'm having trouble on the acting side.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's why I always say to actors, go do dance, go do martial arts, go do a sport where you have to have that connection. Do you think that's helped you, because you come from you used to work with your hands, you're very active, rugby, martial arts. How has that helped you acting wise?
One, I think you're right. I think that is something that is huge for actors, because we live up here, or a lot of actors live up here in the cerebral. They live in the idea of what this should be, what I plan this to be, and then they lose that heart space connection, which to me is what you're talking about with physicality, is being able to connect to the body, feeling the breath, feeling the heartbeat, being able to pull from here instead of here. But I think you're totally right. I think for me, there's also a recognition of with martial arts and with any sport really, is that the body can come first. The body knows things before the brain does sometimes.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
I want to pursue that real quick. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
And then we're back. You said something where the body knows things before the mind does?
Yeah. I think your body will respond faster than your mind does. This, they talk about things like the OODA loop. I'm not going to go into the meaning of what OODA means, but essentially it's the idea that like your brain has to take in something, observe it, decide what to do about it, or decide what it is, decide what to do about it, and then act on it. So what people are what happens in those moments is your body starts to respond, whatever reflexive response that it has, whether it's the fight or flight response or whatever. So like when you're dealing with something emotional, especially your body, you'll find people body tense up. You know what I mean? Whether it's like prepping to run or prepping to fight or prepping to like just fall into a puddle. You know what I mean? So if we can learn to like listen to that body, listen to your body, and for me it's like heart space. Is what I like to think of it as. I think there's a lot more that allows the mind to be free, because another thing that actors deal with is like just the spiral that the brain gets into. As you're prepping for an audition, as you're on set, as you're doing whatever, we start kind of spiraling through the thoughts of the negative, that gray sludge in the back of the mind that is like talking all the BS to you. Like we get in that instead of just trusting the body. One of my favorite things, it's not really, it's no secret, it's just something that helps me is especially when I'm dealing with something that needs to be emotional, needs to be connected and present, is I do like a very non-impressive like shadow boxing feel, because it starts in the heart space. It's your thoracic space, which is right behind the heart. Those are the muscles that are pulling it. As you strike in martial arts, that's really, the ones that are really good are the ones that are pulling. They're not actually driving because there's not as much power there. They're pulling with the opposite side. And that same thing happens. So when you're using that thoracic, it spirals good energy around your heart space. And so it like pulls me into that, connects me emotionally to my body. Yeah.
That energy swirl that you're talking about is very similar to Kundalini breathing and other breathing techniques in yoga. Have you ever tried that?
I've heard of it. I've never practiced Kundalini breathing, but it makes sense. Like there's so much connected to the breath. Like just like how, like just to sit here and go and just like feel your body drop and just feel that heft, which is like good. Like those are the reality of most people. Like that's the reality of most people, is when you take that breath and you feel yourself settle. It's like, oh, now I can see clearer. I see you seeing me. Like those types of things, which is really exciting. Like that's the stuff that inspires me the most about acting, is when you get in those moments and you feel that presence, that connection, and suddenly like without having to try, without having to create anything, suddenly like the air gets stiller, the molecules slow down, and you're able to feel like each other. Like I don't have to like be like, oh, as Wesam like really connected with me, like, oh no, I hear him, I feel him. More importantly, like I don't have to go, hey, are you there? It's like, no.
What?
I feel this. Exactly. See, that's the problem with Wesam on set. No, I'm joking. No, I actually loved, not to detract us from what we were doing, but when we were on set, I really appreciated working with you. I thought there was a great connection, especially the scene in the bathroom.
Oh, thanks, man.
Don't ask about the bathroom. No, I'm joking. It was a great scene. It was really good. But that's one of the things that I look for when I'm working with someone, is like, oh, are they here to like exchange, or are they here to present?
Yeah.
And you're an exchanger, which I really appreciate. Well,
I appreciated you and everybody I worked with, because it's always nerve-wracking coming onto a set that's already established, because it's not nerve-wracking for me. Like I know what I can bring. I'm confident in that ability, but the crew or the cast, what are they like? What kind of headspace are they in? Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to mention names or like talk shit on anybody particularly, but you gotta realize there are a wide variety of personalities in this business, and fame does something to somebody's brain, which I think the human brain is not ready for, like just the amount of fame that people have, like, and especially like social media, etc. But you guys were just so grounded, so real, and willing to play and willing to do that exchange, because I don't know about you, but when I'm on set, like in the bathroom scene, I'm like, I want to see what you're bringing too. Like I can come in with a whole game plan, but if it's different from what you're bringing, it's not meshing.
No magic.
Yeah, exactly. We had great directors too.
Yeah.
Crew was good. Yeah, it was just fun, man.
It's a great set. I mean, not to like fluff all of them too much, but they're amazing. They're like, it's such a great group of people. You know, I from day one, what you felt is what I felt when I first got there. It was like, you know, whether it was Eamon walking up and being like, hey, from now on, if you need anything, come to us. Like, no one does that, but that's what that show does. You know, that's what happens when you're on a set that is built around a world, the firefighter world, that is familial. You know, like you probably don't get that on every show. I mean, the shows I've been on prior to this, like, it's not always like that. Everyone's cordial and, you know, professional, and that's great. But like, it doesn't have the same familial experience that our show does. I don't think. Well, not always.
Well, I don't want to bring up names. I mean, I might, but there's just one person who was just really, like, mean is the right word, and like they asserted their dominance. Hanako? Like,
Hanako?
Yeah.
Hanako's known. She's she can be rough. Like, yeah.
I know the trades are going to pick this up, Variety, Deadline, and stuff. So I'm just
they're watching right now.
Yeah, oh, they always watch.
For sure.
Yeah. On prime time. Anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Prime time.
Prime time.
Prime time. Anyway, Hanako was...
it's almost like it was part of the show.
Right. I think she was... At first I was like, oh, she's method. But then I'm like, you know, the episode was done. And I was like, hey, it was a pleasure working with you. And then she just grabbed me by, like, the throat. And she's like, shut up. And she threw me. And she did that twisting pull thing.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? That you just
we
brought
were
up.
just talking about it.
Yeah. She did that. And
I
flew out.
Yeah.
And it caught me off guard. I cried a little bit.
Yeah.
But I talked to the producers. They're like, just keep your distance.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good.
We're all afraid of her.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're at a commercial break. She's gonna need some time. Give me another magic mind.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's amazing because, you know, watching you guys on set and on the show, I didn't track any of that. So it's impressive that you were able to really work so well together. And even, you know, that must have been in the, you know, off by your guys' self, because I didn't see that. That's impressive.
Well, as I always say, you got to work with the heart space, Jake.
Damn.
Okay.
It's almost like he's listening and using what I said. Right?
Jake, the heart space Lockett.
God, now this is how it happens. This is how it happens. Oh my God. Water. That's great.
Oh man. I'm so warm already. How do you are you enjoying LA? You're only here for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm here for like a month and a half. I'll probably go back early July. It's great. It's been my girlfriend and I started dating, you know, back last fall, and then the strike was happening, so we got to really get close, and then I left for 6 months. And so that was tough, but now we've got to really spend some time together, so it's been great. It's also been good because in Chicago, the martial art I do, we don't have an actual group there, so I get to get back in person and train a little bit here.
Dude, I saw some videos, and I just want to make sure I say it right. Sayok, right?
Sayok.
Excuse me. Yeah. And Sayok Kali, that's what I was like when I was researching this. Is that just the branch, or is that the whole umbrella of it? Like, how does that work?
Right. So Sayok is a Kali form, right? So Kali, you know, generally deals with sticks, sometimes with edge weapons, but mostly sticks. Like you see it a lot of in Eskrima. Pikiti Tersha is one of the other ones. You know, there's a bunch. Atienza Kali is one of our sister groups. But Sayok was developed by a guy named Pamana Tuhan, Chris Sayok. He is lineage from warriors from the Philippines. And so he came over and created his own system here. Started in Philly, outside of PA, and then down in Florida as well, because his father was a martial artist and taught him until he, at like, you know, an early age, like 15, started teaching his own classes. So,
what drew you to that martial art specifically? Because I love finding out why people go to one discipline rather than the other. Yeah,
I mean, I don't have as cool a story as some of the guys that started it. I was a buddy of mine, Dave Kalstein, who's a producer, co-exec on a show named NCIS LA. He asked me to go do it. I was working at a restaurant, and he came in and became one of my regulars, and I just got to know him, and that's one of the things he did. And he invited me to go do it, and I finally went. And it was one of those things where I had always enjoyed martial arts. I'd done some boxing here and there. I'd done some like just MMA general work, but never like anything that like affected me. And then I got into there, and it was just one of those things where I couldn't deny it. Like, you just work. It like teaches you to be in process, and recognition that the mastery isn't really the goal as much as it is to contain or continue to stay in process, which is really awesome. And you know, not in a way that is coincidental. I think it's great. I mean, it is coincidental in that I found it, but it really has affected how I work on my acting, because I think, it's one of those things where in acting, again, if you're focused on the results, it's going to get hard. It gets conceptual. But if you're just in process and like, what is the process today? Like, it makes it really easy. Or and maybe not easy, but it just allows you to be happy in the world of acting and auditioning and stuff.
Can you expand on that a little bit more? Because there's something that I try to warn my students on whenever they say, what do you like today? How do you feel today? I always feel like that's a trap to a certain extent. And I don't think that you're saying this by any means, but you ever hear when people are like, you should take a day to yourself. It's fine. Like, this week is for you. This month is for you. You know what I mean? Then it becomes this like snowball effect where it's just like always about how you feel that day versus what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no one, I mean, a lot of things resonate when you say that, to be honest. Like, as far as SIAC goes, it's like, if you're waiting to feel perfect to start acting, like, you're probably not ever going to start acting. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be the one that is like putting good energy into the world. And sometimes that means recognition of how you're feeling, which if that's shitty. But like, you're only shitty until you're not, right? Like, no one sits in emotion. Like, everyone's either working out of it, or trying to work out of it, whatever it is, whether it's happy, you're trying to continue and maintain that happiness, which sometimes bring more happiness, or sometimes it doesn't, or they're really sad and they want to not be sad anymore. So they're trying to work out of it. So like, if you're feeling one way, that's just a momentary thing, in my opinion. Like, you'll feel that way until something strikes you. Oh, the sun's really beautiful today. Oh, it feels great. Yeah. It changes, but like, to continue to like sit and like just think about what you're feeling, that one experience, that one feeling seems like a bad thing. I think you're right. All that to say, like, I think sitting in that is probably not ideal. Like, you got to be able to like, listen to your body, but like, at some point, go do a thing. Go do the thing you want to do.
Yeah. I'm always right, Jake.
I know. That's why you guys work with him.
Peyton?
Peyton's not even looking.
No, he's not. He's still, I think, recovering from guys' night. Yeah. We had it was pretty intense. This is TMI. My butt is black and blue.
Well, you were filling out your Eskimo work over there. A little flogging went down.
Oh my God. And they were padded too. And
really?
And it still hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know. How many times do you think I got hit? Because I feel like I was hit most this go around.
Do you have a good idea?
No, because I was setting up stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know what went down in the room, really.
Yeah.
The room was miserable.
Your producers were producing.
That's
what goes
right.
down in the room stays in the room, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could do a tally
We could do it
of
some
like
sort
what
of a rough
stays
one.
in the actual cut for the end.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
There is quite a bit.
I mean, if you're actually bruised, like, it sounds like a pretty intense session.
Yeah. I will say this. When I first started jiu-jitsu, I was constantly bruised up just from like just people grabbing your arms or your but it's actually gone away with it's been doing now. I've been doing it 2 years or something. Do you get that kind of bruising with I figured.
Like I mean, our arms get tempered a lot because you're literally hitting forearm to forearm a lot because SIAC is an edge weapon system. Like, that's how we introduce it to everyone, whether you're working with military or we have a combat choreography group for the entertainment industry. Excuse me. When you hit someone's forearm, it's bone to bone. So like you'll just have bruises up and down your forearms because you're tapping blades. Or you're striking as you tap, so like it will leave lots of bruises. I mean, I've been hit with rattan like full speed, and like had welts that looked like a ping pong ball was on my forearm. That's fun.
That's not fun.
It was what was crazy is it wasn't even a part of the demonstration. I just was holding the stick wrong for someone, and they went to demo it, and part of part of learning something is like dealing with like consequences of what you just did, right? So I learned quickly, oh, it's supposed to be like this, not like this. It was crazy. And then the Tuhan that I work with, my instructor, came over and took the same rattan and pressed the blood out of that swollen spot. And that's one of those things where you're like, I'm gonna sit down for just a second. Yeah.
But isn't it great, like, looking back, because when you're feeling that much pain, you go into a different headspace.
Yeah.
And you really find out a lot about yourself, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you also, like, one of my favorite things is, like, you start learning what pain is. Like, at first it feels, like, overwhelming. The senses are in shock. And then you start realizing, oh, it's just your body saying, at the highest level, it's probably like, oh, I like this. But in between that is, like, the level of going, it's just my body saying we got to watch out. It's just my body saying we got to watch out. It's just a feeling, and then you can move through that some. But it's an overwhelming experience the first time you like catch one in the face or whatever.
Oh my God, this reminds me. I used to do Taekwondo back in Oklahoma for a while, and you clash shins with that. So I had a nice little bump from clashing shins. It wasn't too bad, but it was bad enough where I was like, that sucks, and it welted up pretty good. And then I was getting in my car, and the way the parking lot was, it's like on an angle, and it was really windy that day. And the way my car was pointed, it was like perfect to where if I opened the door, the wind was just going to slam it shut. So I was putting in my bag, and the leg that I had clashed shins with was out, right here on the edge, and the door was open. I was just putting my bag, and then a wind came and went boom, and then slammed right on that exact spot. I'm not exaggerating. My shin was like, boop. There's like a nice little dent in the bone for the longest time. And I'm like, oh, man. It's one of those things where you're just quiet for a long time. You're just sitting there, and you're like, I have chills for a while.
Like, I know that feeling so well, where you're just like, I can't say anything. I have to just sit here and take a breath one at a time.
Also, you're an adult, so what are you going to do? Like, cry or scream by yourself in the parking lot?
And you're at martial arts thing. So you're like, I can't let anyone see this. Oh, God. Yeah.
Are there any competitions with SIOC?
We've done, back in the 80s, when it first started, there was a lot of like full-on stick fighting competitions where, people like break legs, things like that.
Whoa.
But nothing, not as much recently, because, when you train with people, at some point you want to keep them so they get better. But if you keep breaking people, it's hard for retention. So, we've developed training tools, for instance, we use what's called soft sticks, which are, the name is a lie.
Yeah.
It's really hard plastic interior with the thinnest of foam cushion, and that's what we'll spar with when we're doing like long blade or stick fighting. We'll do it with that.
Oh, cool. Headshots, or you wear headgear?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what we're doing. Like if we're using just polymer stuff, we'll use headgear. Because that will I've been hit with like a fencing mask on and had a welt on the side of my head with polymer. So you can still get smoked pretty good, but it keeps you from taking that to the skull, and it keeps your face as an actor. I kind of need that to stay somewhat the way it is right now. So it helps a lot. It helps a lot to have the gear for sure. And it there's only so many thrusts you can take to your sternum, especially when you're the guy who is, the everyday guy on the street who's coming at someone. Like, we want them to be a little less correct, right? Because we need to learn what those things are, what they would do. And so that person needs to be geared up so they're not just taking strikes to the sternum, to the heart, the heart area with like polymer like looking blades that even aren't, they're not sharp, but they hurt when you get hit by them for sure.
I can imagine.
I swear it's not as crazy as it sounds.
I know. I get it, because I'm sure if somebody just takes the classes and they realize, it's, it's never as bad as it is whenever you start doing it. I always feel like those moments before are always so much worse.
100%.
Even with sparring, Even when I'm rolling with a much bigger guy, I'm almost like, survive. Just
Oh, yeah.
survive.
Just make it to the end.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Or like just have a little win, especially in the beginning. Just
That's a great note. I think that's, for me, sometimes I'm like, because I have a certain competitive nature, I'm like, I gotta win, and it's like, you're probably not. That's the facts. Especially if you're working against somebody who's got more time, under their belt. Like, it's just probably not gonna happen. So finding the little wins. Oh, that's it. Even like the win of like, oh, that's why I got taken that time. Like, this is a better way to do it. This is a better way to do it.
Yeah.
That's such a good note you have there. Like, I don't always track that. Like, especially in a system where you're dealing with life and death a lot of times, which is what we do. Like, because we're training with blades, like, you're dealing with the idea that this thing could kill you or you could kill someone. Which,
exactly.
Has an emotional response for sure.
Well, that didn't come naturally. It was a lot of good advice from the people I roll with.
That's good.
And there's another person who told me, like, hey, have fun while doing this. You're not training to be a world champion or anything, so you're a hobbyist, so
yeah,
you should be having fun when you roll. I'm like, oh yeah.
Why? Yeah, you walk in, you're like, I have to win all of this, and there's like world champions in there.
I mean, I'm so stupid. Like, no, I'm stupid because I think like that. You know what I mean? That's my stupid, like, caveman brain where I'm like, I've got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and there's still a part of me that's like, I got this. I'm going to work this guy.
Yeah,
just wait. You catch me on a good day, buddy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll put you to work.
Yeah, that's right. You think you know some stuff, guy.
I'll keep you busy.
Yeah, I'll keep you busy. That's how I feel sometimes. I'll be working with someone and they're like, no, it's this. And they hit you and you're like, didn't even know that was there. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good learning spot. Thank you.
It's a humbling thing when somebody does that or they grab you and then you realize what strength and control is. And you're like, those quiet rides. You ever have a quiet ride or a quiet walk back home after like a really humbling training day?
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh my God. Those are the days you learn the most though. You know what I mean? You're like, I learned what I can't do today. That's great. That's good. That's a good start.
Oh man.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's something I don't know that I've quantified as much. That's amazing. Like how many days like you get done, like it feels like you just got your ass handed to you and you're like, I'm just going to be quiet for a little while.
Yeah. No music on the way back.
No music. Just the sound of the road.
Yeah, you're just making dinner quietly. You're just eating. No podcast, no YouTube, no TV. You're just eating silently. You're just thinking about everything that transpired. Dude, the worst is when they have like, we have open mats and there'll be just younger, like 16, 18-year-old kids. Mm-hmm. And
but they've been training since they were 8.
Yeah, and they're lighter than you by a good amount. And then you just look like a toy to them. And you're just like, I pay more taxes than you. This shouldn't be right.
This is bullshit. Yeah, because they're still like super limber and nimble and like don't get hurt as easily.
No.
So they're just like falling around and they're doing their pretzel thing and then they get around you and you're like, where did you even go?
You know what? I don't know how it is with you. Do you see do you ever see something that's, how am I going to phrase this? Okay. Whenever I roll with somebody or I see somebody who's doing something incredible, like the depth of their knowledge, I get inspired.
Oh, yeah.
To be like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, how do I apply this to acting, for instance? Do you feel like that when you're training at all?
That's a great question. I mean, I think there's something to be said for like when you work with people better than you, like if you just like are there with them, especially in the martial arts world. Like the thing that like always inspired me is when I start working with someone who's been in the system for 25 years or 30 years. And you're like, I just want to like tap blades with you and just feel your energy and just see what that's like. And they'll be like, this is how this is going to happen. This is how this is going to happen. And then you do everything you can to not let that happen, and it still happens. And you're like, man, okay. So for me, like, as I talk about this, I feel like what's resonating with what you asked was like, oh, the road is always in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, it's exciting. It's, again, going back to that whole process thing, which, again, for acting, like, you know, when you're working with someone, it can be really humbling at times. And then there are moments where you're like, oh, that's where I get to fucking go someday. Like, okay, cool. Let me see if they'll pull me a little bit, like pull me on that ride a little bit. That's really exciting, you know, no matter what, like whether it's like Daniel Day-Lewis or, you know, name your favorite actor's actor, or you work with someone who's, you know, what's a movie star, you know what I mean? Like, whether that's an actor's actor or not, you know what I mean? Like, they all have knowledge that they can, like, pull you along and be like, here's a little bit, if you're willing to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Amon on the show?
Yeah.
My scene I had with him, it felt a little bit like that. I felt like he's an actor's actor, which I love so much. And when we were working our scene, we were trying to find it. It was literally the last scene in the script, but the first day we're shooting together with it, and one of those days. And so I'm trying to. It's my first time working with the director, and we're still trying to find it. I'm coming in with choices.
Yeah.
The director's giving me stuff. Amon's doing stuff, and we start like finally finding it in the blocking, and then we almost had it in one take, and he's like, okay, let's try it one more time. And then Amon just puts his hand on my shoulder, like I have my back to him. I'm walking away. He's like, don't walk away before you say that line. Like, stick it, say it, and then walk away. And then, of course, I'm like, he's so close to me right now. I can feel your energy.
Yeah.
I get it.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and I'm like, sounds good, man. So close.
Yeah.
But I felt it, and
Yeah.
it worked. It was great. It was
Yeah.
one of those experiences. It was really fun. It was memorable, very memorable.
He is one of those people for sure. He is extremely passionate about what he does and the group he creates. Like, because I do think he had a huge part in creating the energy in that set. Like him, and then, you know, David, everyone really, but like he really like was the catalyst, I think, for the familial nature of that set. And, you know, he did a version at that to me, like one of the days we went in there, and it was me, him, Miranda, and Taylor on a scene, and we got through with it. Was nothing like I expected it to be. And he was like, that's not what you expected, was it? He goes, yeah, that's the exciting part. Like, man, that's exciting. You know what I mean? The idea that, like, it gets to be different every time. Like, fuck, that's awesome.
And scary.
Oh, dude, super scary. But also, like, if you can live in it and be okay with it, it's a lot of freedom in that.
I think that goes back to, like, there's no security in acting, but you can't stay in a cubicle. I can't stay in a cubicle.
No.
There's more security in there, but we both can't stay in there. And so that's what I have to remind myself whenever things are getting rough, or, you know, you're on those down slopes, those dry spells for a little bit, and be like, okay, it's either this or a cubicle. And I'm always like, I'll take this any day.
This is great. Yeah, I think it was weird because when I saw, like, because when I could see the next 40 years, like, you know, understand what the past would be, I was like, man, that sounds not fun. Like, not that wasn't fun necessarily. It wasn't for me, but it can be for some. But it's just the recognition of knowing exactly what it was going to be that was like, that's too much. That's too much for me. You know what I mean? Like, I want a little bit of, like, oh, I get to do that tomorrow. That's amazing. Yeah. Which is not everyone, you know, but I think for actors, I think that is one of the common denominators is definitely, hey, we don't know what tomorrow necessarily has, and that's exciting, and we got to be okay with that.
Two things for the real actors and artists, because I feel like there's a large portion of the population who don't really understand or respect the craft or trained long enough to even start auditioning, in my opinion.
I agree. They get doing it too early.
And also, there's nothing wrong with if you enjoy the cubicle life or like that. That's also great. I'm speaking specifically for our type of person and artist. Yeah. So there's no like negative remarks for anybody who actually likes that and has that security, because we're all different at the end of the day.
I have plenty of friends that I went to college with who are crushing it, like working at NASA on rockets that are going to go to the moon. Like, it's crazy, but that's exciting for them. You know what I mean? And how that happens is exciting for them. But man, it was not the world for me.
No.
Yeah.
My parent.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say.
No, go ahead.
I don't know what he wants me to say.
So I thought I heard someone yell in the building earlier. Was that just my imagination?
I think that was just your imagination.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it's imagination.
What's that supposed to mean, man?
I don't know. It's acting. No.
You know what? I'm upset, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Hey, man. It's my show.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to take it over. No. I could not. I would not. This is amazing. Like, the fact that you even have all this stuff planned out, you're able to run with it is really impressive.
Thank you.
What scares me about improv, I'm like, I kind of like to know a little bit of what's going to happen. But, that's also what's exciting about this is we don't know where it's going to go necessarily. Or I don't.
I'll be honest with you, I barely know what I'm doing still.
Good.
It's thanks to them, too, that the show continues on.
At least you know. You know what I mean?
I had a podcast before this called Actors Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
I did 100 or so episodes of it. And actually recently I went back and started to listen to one, and I was like, oh, we're not doing that. We are not.
We don't want to go in that little time capsule over there. That's not going to be fun.
No. But at the same time, I'm glad that most of it's on YouTube right now. I think there's something special, though, of I don't want to necessarily go back, but I'm not necessarily embarrassed of that journey it took me to get here, because I think it's important for people to see that. And what I do in especially my self-tape acting course, called Art of the Self-Tape at IDSA, I show them my worst self-tape, like one of my worst ones, and then I also show them ones that I've booked to show them, like, hey, you can get to this place. It takes just work, time, experience, and you finding your own way. And, like, my way's not the only way, but I think it's important to show, like, where you started off from, so that it seems realistic for people to get there.
Yeah.
Because it's hard sometimes when you see somebody climbing Mount Everest and they're almost at the top. You're like, oh man, can't do that, you know. But then you don't. If you see how they train for it, then you're like, oh, okay, this is possible.
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
I feel like I'm setting myself up for some interesting sound bites.
Oh yeah. Well, you just have to work from the heart.
Oh, no, it's the heart space. Damn it.
Sorry.
You can't even make fun of me, right? God damn it.
I'm just nervous. I told you, I don't know where this is going.
Okay, I get it.
This is my 8th magic mind.
Today.
My heart is fluttering.
We may need a doctor. Where's the set medic?
Yeah, man, it's annoying that you sing, you dance, you do all this stuff so well. Now that now let's get to the real interview.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, let's do it.
Are you still? Do you make music? Or you just play for yourself?
Mainly just play for myself. I like going and singing like at random little open mics, but haven't really made music. I was a part of a band like 4 or 5 years ago before the pandemic, and then that ended. But I might end up starting to do it. I had somebody reach out recently that was like, "Hey, I can make some music if you want to sing over it and write over it." And I was like, "Okay, maybe." So it could be some stuff coming up, but right now it's just enjoyment. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the more pure things you can do is like go out and just like play music, and sometimes it's really bad, and sometimes you're like, man, I wasn't ready for that song, and then sometimes you're like, oh, that felt good. You know what I mean?
Wow,
that's fun. But it also means that you got to be willing to fuck up pretty good. I've definitely started songs over multiple times. So, oh yeah. The guy's like afterwards, like, thanks for just starting over. Some people just don't know where to go, and I'm like, well, I have messed up plenty of times, so I know to just start over.
I love that feeling. I love being in the audience.
Yeah.
I love watching like cringe things. They just
that tracks so well for you, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
I
do something really. It's not. Here we go. Okay, now people are gonna think I'm a psycho. When my students are doing scenes in front of me, sometimes they'll forget a line, right? And they'll expect me to stop it, and I don't.
Good.
Because I want them to learn how to like save themselves and swim
reset.
out of it. Yeah. You do it. This is your time.
Yeah.
But watching them in those first like 5 seconds, it's the best. Because I've been there. We've all been there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We've all been there. So I know what they're feeling.
I've had those auditions where you're like, I don't know. Sweet. No. Okay. It's good. All right. Have a good day. And then you just get sent out the room. And you're like, oh, okay.
This is obviously pre-pandemic because in the room stuff, right?
Yeah. It was in the room stuff. It was like a great opportunity too, and like I remember doing it, nailing it. Like I came in late because I was coming from I think a producer session, and then I get there and they're like, "Let's go. We got the session here in a second. If you want to go to producers," and there was no tape, and so I did it once, and he's like, "All right, do this," and then I went through that, and I like messed up the same line like 3 times in a row, and he's like, "All right. have a good one, Jake. And I was like, oh no. But it helps you learn. You just you figure it out the next time.
Okay. He'll be fine with me telling this story. My buddy Isaiah, he was going into this casting director multiple times, and I think it was forgot what it was for. I think it was it was one of those sessions where you do it without a camera first, but just with you and the casting director.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Great, we love you. Come in for the yeah." So he went into the producer session, and it was one of those like chunks of dialogue that have like very specific names.
Oh man.
And there's like a bunch of names in
I'm
there.
anxious hearing about this.
Oh, yeah. And then Isaiah told me like he had been running it. It was fine, but it's one of those things where he had stopped running it for a certain amount of time, so it left his short-term memory because he got the sides I think that day or the night before.
Oh my gosh.
And he comes in there and literally said nothing was in his brain. And then the casting director on top of that starts at a line like too early or something. Like sometimes
gosh.
they do that.
Yeah.
And then that threw him off. So he starts improving. Literally the whole scene. Not a single word is right. So he looks like a crazy person.
We're the producers. Oh my god. My heart hurts for him.
I know. And then he's like, that casting director never called me in again.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but also, poor Isaiah.
I know. And he's a great actor, too. I mean,
Oh.
he works in television, too, but it's like one of those bad audition stories.
That's definitely a good example of it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, auditioning's weird. Like, it's such a weird thing. You know what I mean? Like, just the whole premise. You're going into conference rooms. I mean, I've done tests in a conference room where I'm supposed to be in a car with someone who's sitting beside me. And there's, like, people across the whole... And you're just like, man, this isn't even close to it. You guys...
Yeah.
You make it hard. You make it real hard. This isn't even like a stage where we could, like kind of step back a little bit. I'm like this close to one of the producers across the table.
But Ben, honestly, I'd rather take that than self-tapes. I'm tired of them.
Oof.
Do you like them?
I do enjoy them, and the fact that like I get to set it. I can, there's no pressure on takes, which I think you shouldn't feel pressure, but hey, there's a little pressure when you walk in those rooms. The benefit of being in the room is you get to work with someone who like knows exactly what they're looking for, or at least they think they know what, everyone thinks they know what they're looking for until something different changes. But man, there's something really nice about being able to like have someone that's going to be reading with you, like maybe that's in class with you, and then they're like in the scene with you. There's something really beneficial, in my opinion, to self-tapes for that. Mm. But at the same time, you got to be able to do both. Like that's the world.
Yeah.
I hear you though. It's hard. It's hard to not go in and like see someone who has a finger on the pulse of what they're looking at.
Also, I feel like competition's just increased. I know we've talked about this on the show before, but like any Joe Schmo can now audition for things in the comfort of their home, and I think that's an issue whenever you're talking about becoming a professional actor, because having to deliver at a certain time is a part of the job.
Part of the job, yeah. That's true.
They're not like, Jake, whenever you're ready. Everybody's ready, Jake. Whenever you're ready, take your time.
We can do as many takes as you want. That's not how it works. You get 3, maybe.
Have your parents or family members got to visit you on set yet?
They have not.
Okay.
I have had like my buddies. A buddy of mine has come to set, but like last season, season 11, we still couldn't have people on set yet because of COVID. Yeah. So this season, I had a buddy of mine go with me to set, but no one else.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's nice when they get to come, especially like my family. Like nobody in my family has like any like awareness of the industry. You know what I mean? They're consumers whenever they want to be.
Right.
But it was funny. I went home not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, and my cousin was like, "Yeah, I thought you were doing something." And I was like, "Yeah, all right, that's fine. It's not really their world. They don't know. Right. I haven't been working at this for 10 years."
My dad and mom and one of my brothers got to visit me on set a long time ago, and my dad was just blown away because we were on the Paramount lot and like going in my trailer and then seeing it. He's like, we said there is so many people working on this, and I'm like, yeah, it's not just me and my friends with a tripod.
There's so many. There's 200 here today, and there's 200 more behind the scenes. Yeah, it blows my mind how many people are employed on our show. It's impressive.
Takes an army of people to
Yes.
make something happen for people.
In the timeline they expect it to be, you're making a 60-page, essentially a 60-page movie in 8 days.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what's
Awesome.
the craziest part is the amount of cooks sometimes in the kitchen, especially when you start going in the upper, like because of the business of the side of things, with the studios and networks, and people want to. Sometimes there's too many people putting in, their input.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard stories where stuff like titles of shows has been changed just because somebody's like, I don't get the name of this, and it's like, who are you?
I need you to tell me your name
Right.
first, please.
This is why I don't know if
sure.
I'll ever be a showrunner. If I could ever be a showrunner, I mean, if I see a okay, I'm not going to mention names just so I continue working in this
You
industry.
keep saying that.
I know, and I haven't. I'm good,
Yeah,
right?
you're doing
I'm
great.
good, right?
Just like Isaiah, he's the only one that's gone thrown out there.
That's true.
But apparently he's cool, so it's fine.
Yeah, he's cool. No, just I've gotten to see notes producers have shown me from like execs and stuff, and I'm like, no way. He's like, yeah, they talk to us like that sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to know.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe just keep that to yourself. I don't need to know
I'm
those
like,
things.
whoa, no wonder you're stressed.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I'm sure it's things that like don't feel big. It's big to them, obviously, but on the ground you're like, I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah. So that's, already just to make a show happen, to manifest it
Yeah.
from somebody's mind to people's living rooms takes so many hoops and miracles to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's
Yeah.
just incredible.
I've directed one thing. I directed a short film that I helped rewrite with a buddy of mine, called A Rush of Peace. It's about addiction. About the guy's life. It's like it's an allegory about addiction. So it's not necessarily about what you would think of as classic addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, narcotics, or whatever. But it takes a man's addiction to revenge and uses that as the allegory, and like how you can burn things down to the point that like you really ruin it. Maybe that's the bottom, and maybe you get to come back out of that bottom, but maybe not. So anyway, doing that made me respect any producer. Like I was blown away at just like the calls and the misunderstandings and the like, how do I even do this? Like, as the director, if I hadn't had my DP and my first AD, like it would have looked like someone brought their camcorder out and made a film. It was crazy, but those people saved me. But again, it just made me respect everyone who puts movies together in any shape or form.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to ask you a little bit more about this. However, our live Adobe time has come to an end. If you still want to listen to the entire episode, which you should, because I'll sue you. You can check us out tomorrow on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're now on YouTube podcasts. We've been published on YouTube podcasts. So if you listen to podcast audio on YouTube, we're there as well. Thank you for tuning in. You can follow Jake at the Jake Lockett for all social media handles, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And check out him on the next season of Chicago Fire. All right? The show continues on. It kind of reminded me of what you were saying of, is there a crisis of conscience with this short film at all, or not really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it ends up having a crisis of conscience. It is a... it deals with gun violence. There's some, some things that happen in it that are like not an easy watch sometimes. But it definitely has that. It also has an opportunity that was one of my favorite parts of it, where what can happen when you are willing to get present with someone. Like maybe you can save someone. You know what I mean? There's a moment where a waitress at a diner like almost connects enough with him, almost, and then. Like if he at some point, destiny is always destiny, I guess. No matter how many like roads you take, when it's your destiny, you'll arrive there. I think is kind of like what was one of the underlying drives of the film, and yeah, like there's something really beautiful, like especially when it starts rough, and in this one it does, like meaning like they didn't start, like it wasn't like suddenly they had a connection. It was like it was earned for sure. But yeah, but when you're willing to like put like your own like stuff down, and you see somebody and like reach out to them energetically, it's like, oh wow, maybe you can make a difference.
We just had Sarah Gilman on the show. She's an actress as well, and she talked about how just a small act of kindness, you don't know what that's going to do to somebody.
Yeah.
So it's crazy you bring that up. We were talking about oh my gosh, Suicide Awareness Month, and just like mental health. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's lacked so much here in Los Angeles, just sense of community with people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It goes a long way. Even when you like mess up on the road, something happens, just a small like wave goes a long way. Just like, oh, sorry. And then I'm like, okay, cool. All good, man.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need. And so it's really, really interesting you bring that up. Well, two things. You brought up the fact of like your fate's solidified. You can take a bunch of roads, but you're always going to go to your fate.
Yeah.
Is that something you personally believe in, like fate versus freedom of will?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think for me, it tracked for the story, and it tracked for like the story we wanted to tell. I think it's I don't know. I have some conflict in that, because I do think that like, I don't know. Yeah, I do. I think in this moment, at least, like once you step through the door, like I think that's where the thing is. If you're willing to make a choice, like your fate is going to be there. But I think some people don't make a choice. They almost like stay where they're at, because they're not willing to like do a thing, like whether it's like this or that or whatever. I think there can be some like changes of destiny and lacks of action. But when you take action, there's going to be a result no matter what. And sometimes it will steer you, and sometimes it'll be the correct one. And I think that's the cool thing. So yeah, I think if you're willing to like just step out, I do think you have a destiny. I think there's also a alternate reality, whereas if you don't make choices and don't try a thing, then you're gonna stay where you're at. Like that'll be your destiny. But as soon as you step through the door, like the destiny starts aligning itself.
Do you guys? I'm just curious. Freedom of choice versus fate.
I don't have a strong opinion.
Okay.
I think that's a top question for most philosophers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is everything predetermined, or do you make choices, or do you have predetermined paths that you choose those paths?
Yeah.
So,
That's something that's something just bugs me.
Well, I think it's interesting. Like, it's one of the things that helps me. I hear about different stories of people getting jobs in this industry, no matter how good they were. Sometimes, like, they're good to get to a certain point, but then maybe the test doesn't go well or whatever, and you're like, but they still get it. And you're like, that to me tells me like at a certain point, like at least in this industry, when a role is yours, it's going to be yours. You know what I mean? No matter what. I mean, if you don't show up, maybe it won't be. Like, that's the world where it's like, if you don't walk through the door, you're going to stay where you're at. But as soon as you walk through the door, I think a lot of times, if you're willing to show up, it's yours if it's supposed to be. I don't know if that tracks, but it makes sense in this moment.
No, it tracks. I'm just thinking, because there's my mind now is just like branching off into 1,000 different directions, and I'm just trying to keep it contained, because it's one of those things where sometimes I think so much, I sometimes run into like a type of brick wall where my mind kind of goes into this like software infinite cycle kind of thing. It's like almost thinking about think of a color that doesn't exist. Like
good luck.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you keep going back to it, because there are colors that exist that we can't see, which I think is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like predetermined fate. It's one of those.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It kind of like lives in the world of like, creationism versus like all sorts of stuff. Like one of my favorite classes in college was astronomy, and like the teacher was awesome. He would like one day he like dressed up like Galileo. Like it's like one of the best classes in college. Everyone wanted it as an engineer. But one of the craziest things is just like how minuscule like the changes have to be for the conditions on Earth not to work out.
Right.
Or the fact that like, I want to say the fact, this has been almost 20 years now since I was in college, but if I remember correctly, or more than 20 years, it's if you look up in the sky in a square inch, just look at a square inch, there's like 3,000 galaxies in there.
Yes.
How crazy is that? And just the awareness of like, we're not even a galaxy. We're one star within the Milky Way, right? And then outside of that is like, in 360 degrees. Like, it's crazy. Not to put, speaking of existential crisis, it's like, holy moly. Like, that is that makes you recognize like your size.
Yeah. I mean, think of like just taking a couple steps behind, like things needed for things to happen or exist.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Peyton and I are friends is just so crazy because he reached out to me completely randomly, and he said, "Hey, you're good friends." Like, was it good friends or friends with my Jack?
Yeah, I probably said good friends.
Yeah, he said you're good friends with Jack Dean, and I'm friends with Jack Dean, and I'm coming out to LA. I didn't know Jack Dean.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I think I met him like once.
You met him once at a competition.
There you go.
Amazing.
Like years ago, or
Yeah.
yes. And he was like, I'm coming out to LA. I'm an actor, and I was seeing if we could meet up for coffee.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know you. Am I gonna get robbed if I say yes to if I meet up with him?
Go
So I
to
was
a
just
public
like,
place. Go to a public place.
We did, and we met up for coffee, and I was like, oh, cool. Seemed like a cool guy. We talked a little bit. Said he was coming out in 6 months, and then he messaged me again. I was like, oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
You
Yeah.
did the thing.
Yeah, and then he joined the show, and yeah, we became friends. But it was one of those things where if he had maybe emailed me on a Tuesday instead of a Monday, I might have just ignored the email.
Yeah. And you wouldn't have this awesome show.
I know. So
Amazing.
It's really weird how things work out like that. You just don't know.
Yeah.
It makes my mind just hurt, honestly.
It definitely puts the bug in your ear of like it feels like it can't be predetermined, but then again, like maybe he would have just showed up and like you guys would have been sitting at the coffee shop and he'd been like, hey, are you Wesam? Like, are you friends with that guy Jack, whatever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe that would have happened no matter what, but
And then I wouldn't have beat the final boss in Elden Ring because Jack Dean helped me.
that's important.
No, he did help me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I asked for his help because you can summon other players to help you with the main quest line. And then I summoned Jack Dean, and he helped me out. So it came full circle, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I really need to upload that video. I think I'm going to do that tonight. I need to do that tonight. No, you're laughing, Jake. You're laughing. It's not funny, man.
Okay, you're right.
This was an epic battle. It was like 200 plus hours I put into this game.
Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, it was the last go around too. I was like, hey, this is the last time we can try this. And then, I mean, you were there, Peyton. You tell the story so much better than me. You tell it like.
So, how long were you struggling with this final boss on Elden Ring?
It was a fucking long time.
Yeah. So I don't play Elden Ring, but I knew Jack that we've been talking about played a shit ton of Elden Ring. So we coordinated so that Jack would come in, help the final boss and everything. They were trying different strategies over and over and over again. Then it got down to like, okay, this is the last one we're going to try for the day. And I'm just watching the whole thing. I'm not playing. And they get in there, and they're doing really good. But then Jack gets killed, and it's just Wesam left in there. So now my POV is gone. I can't see what Wesam's doing. And then Wesam fighting like a trooper, and then just over the mic, he just goes, oh my God. And I go, did you beat him? And he goes, no. And at that moment, I thought he died.
Yeah.
But then just very faintly in the background, you just hear, he's still clicking his buttons. Everything. It's like, oh my God, he's still in it. He's still going.
The legend.
And everybody's just silent. All you hear is just button tapping over and over and over and over again. And then finally it was just like a yes! I did it!
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in that living room.
Oh my God, dude. It was one for the
Epic.
books. And I'm telling you, do you play video games?
I used to do a lot of Call of Duty and Halo. But
Okay.
then my Xbox had a ring of death, and I never bought another one.
Oh, okay.
That's how long ago it's been.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you've saved yourself a lot of time. Listen, this game, Elden Ring, is my all-time favorite game. But it's so detailed, and it kind of just throws you into this open world. They don't really teach you things. I mean, they kind of do, but not really. And there's so many combinations of armor, weapon, fighting styles, magic. Did I say items? No, items. And also side quests that connect to the main quest line, and some of them change the entire ending. There's like 6 different endings that you can have.
Yeah.
And it's so there's an atmosphere to it. You know, do you ever watch a movie and it's just like, oh, there's an atmosphere, like Back to the Future?
Yeah, love that. That makes me want to play it, honestly, because I think that's what draws me. And when I do play video games, is especially in a world where you can like work with other people in different locations. Like there's something that's so awesome about the collaborative aspect of that. And then if you're in a place that feels like you're there, that could be addicting. That could be a problem.
Well, I remember Peyton telling me, I watched videos of people playing the Elden Ring type of games, and basically their boss battles are so difficult because of the not randomized patterns, but the awkward patterns that they have. So as soon as you finally beat one boss, the next one is completely different. So you really have to like change everything for every single boss. And I think like the average times you fight every boss in Elden Rings or like Dark Souls games, which are like the same, or like 50 times. Some people go like on YouTube, there's like hundreds of times they've died fighting the same boss.
Wow.
That's how difficult these bosses are.
Oof.
And so there's this like sense of, you're like, I finally did it. There's actually some skill to me instead of just button mashing.
Yeah. That's great. I think the last game I played that was that intense was I played the Shadow of the Colossus. What?
Peyton hates that game. I think it's one of the best games of all time as well.
It's the last one I played. I remember beating it. It also connects to me one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
Reign Over Me, with Don Cheadle and Adam Sandler.
Oh.
Adam Sandler plays a guy who Liv Tyler's in it. It's an absolutely excellent movie if you're looking to like feel the feels. Adam Sandler plays someone who lost his family in 9/11. And Don Cheadle is his buddy and like a lawyer or something like that, and then Liv Tyler plays his therapist. But it's such an amazing movie, and it's also got like an excellent soundtrack.
Oh.
I'm trying to think I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anyway, an excellent soundtrack. So like if you want a good movie, but yeah, he's playing that in the whole movie. Adam Sandler's character is playing Shadow of the Colossus throughout the whole movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, I never knew that. Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out now.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a good watch.
Any like all-time favorite movies? Because I'm gonna give you my list before we head out.
Man, so many. Last of the Mohicans, phenomenal. One of my favorite movies is 7 Pounds with Will Smith, Rosario Dawson, Moonlighting, or not Moonlighting. What is the Cher movie and Nicolas Cage? Moonstruck. Excuse me. Moonstruck, phenomenal movie. I love the miniseries Lonesome Dove. I'm a big Western guy. Love it. Can't go wrong. The Sackets is another good one. I feel like this is like I hate this question because I'll keep going and then I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then someone will say something like, yeah, that one too. You know what I mean? But
It's hard. That's why it's
there's so many good movies. But yeah, those are two of my favorites. 7 Pounds and Reign Over Me. Surprising. What?
I'm sorry. I have a really. I'm debating whether I want to say this, and I'm sure this actor will never listen to this podcast, so I think we're good. But we had one of the actors from Lonesome Dove come to my college and give us a acting on film on TV seminar. And
which actor?
That's a good question.
What do you mean that's a good question? Are you afraid to say? Like, what are we talking about?
Even if I remembered it, I wouldn't want to. But looking back on it, it was not the best seminar, unfortunately. But I did give him a little bit of a hard time.
As a student there?
Yeah, I was an asshole.
Oh, man, I want to know. What happened? It wasn't Tommy Lee or Robert Duvall, I assume.
No. That would have been amazing. Obviously. It was one of the smaller lined actors.
Copy.
And, okay, I'm going to tell you 2 parts of this. And oh my God, we might edit this out. We might not. I don't know. Anyway, so he kept referring to the camera as the one-eyed monster. And dude, I was shaking every time he would say it. Like
God.
He's like, don't be afraid of this one-eyed monster, okay? You just gotta just pretend it's not there. And I'm saying all this stuff, and I'm like,
Bro, no one else? So you just started asking one-eyed monster questions. Obviously, as you should. What in the hell?
bro, I mean, just, I was unhinged, okay? Just unhinged. And I remember this other incident that happened, and my teacher looked at me like she was about to have a heart attack. One of the lines in the scenes we were performing in front of him, my line was "fuck off," okay? And then we were like, we're working like it was like perfect. I swear to God, this happened. I swear to God. He goes, what line did you guys start? And I just go, "fuck off." Everybody in class. And I'm like, "No, that's the line." Yeah, and I'm being an asshole too.
Yeah.
Like, but he couldn't say anything. And so
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, okay. Let me. And then, dude,
Oh my God.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
Good memories, eh?
Oh man, I can't believe Lonesome Dove. Oh man, it was the Western one, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Miniseries, yeah. So good. After we're off, you should tell me who it was. Like, if you can figure it out.
I don't really remember. I would have to look at IMDb and see all the list of people. He didn't have a huge part in it. So.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Oklahoma?
Tulsa.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, went to TU. Had a great acting teacher there. Had
Yeah.
a good program there. Yeah.
That's cool. I think Tulsa, Oklahoma City, they've had a pretty big resurgence of acting there. There's like a studio that's coming in there. One of those. I don't know if it's Tulsa. Maybe Oklahoma City.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
Because Tulsa Gang moved out of Tulsa, went to Texas because of tax stuff, and I'm like, guys, you should keep those productions there.
Yeah.
They bring in a lot of money.
Mhm.
They make a lot of jobs. People flourish. I really hope so. I don't know what's going on with
Who knows?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even here in California, in all honesty, I mean, I'm not getting political by any means, but like, Hollywood should be the mecca of filmmaking.
That's generally why people are in California. I mean, obviously I have Silicon Valley, but like, that's what it's here for.
Yeah, make it more incentives for productions to stay here.
Yeah.
If you really, I
Want
mean, they're
that.
going everywhere and they're spending money elsewhere. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't
Anyway,
know. Doesn't make sense.
I'm gonna give you some of my favorite movies: Red Belt, Machinist, Lock.
Machinist, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen Lock with Tom Hardy?
Yeah. That in a car.
The whole movie.
Amazing. That stuff blows my mind when you're able to feel everything from that.
Oh.
Like stunning. I feel like there's another movie that's similar to that. Oh, like Room.
Yeah.
Similar. I think it's Brie Larson, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, the oh my God, that's what I can remember now.
Okay.
Yeah. But those just
What was the first one you said? Red
Belt, all-time
Red
favorite.
Belt. Really?
David Mamet wrote it.
Oh, well, he's
And directed.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. Some great actors in there. Tim Allen's best performance.
Really?
Yeah, he's a
See,
supporting
I love
role.
that. I love when. Is it a comedic movie?
No, it's
Not
a
at all.
dramatic, and I'm
Dude.
telling you, he knocks it out of the park.
Amazing. Adam Sandler, like I said, in Reign Over Me, not comedic at all. That sounds awesome. You look at Robin Williams in the dramatic roles he's done or had done. Like it blows my mind how some of those guys can really come in and just like make some amazing work happen.
I think some of the best dramatic actors, some of them, are the funniest people in the world.
Oh yeah.
Because comedy is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
With my students, I leave comedy towards the end because it seems to be a big struggle for a lot of actors for some reason.
Yeah, there's this need to make it funny instead of just like dealing with what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that.
All right, that's it. We're done.
Done? That's it?
That's it.
They don't
Never
want any
again.
more?
No, I don't want.
Dude,
any
I could
more.
sit. No, I think a lot of people bullshit with this stuff, but like I could legit sit here and talk to you for hours. So if you ever want me to come back, I'd love to come back and just BS with you. We can talk about anything.
Absolutely. And next project you don't want to promote, you're definitely welcome back on anytime you want.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, next time I'm doing something, if I end up putting out an EP or anything like that, music wise, or next season before, if it's not before then, that is for Chicago Fire. Like, yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I got some. We didn't talk about golf, but
Oh shit!
no, it's how dare you? No.
I start crying. You're like, whoa.
That's it. thought we were gonna get to now.
By the no, I'm gonna say this real quick.
I know we gotta go. I
The golf thing. I love when were you the one who was like, I told you about Bevel here in Burbank, and you
Oh,
were
yeah.
like, oh, that's not a real golf course, and I was like, oh, okay.
D-Bell.
D-Bell, sorry,
D-Bell, yeah.
D-Bell, and you're like, oh, that's not a real golf course. I'm like, okay, man.
Like,
well, it
who
is
is
because
this guy?
I was like, it is because I went there and I played golf.
It's literally a golf course, bro. That's so funny, and that's something that a golf instructor told me. So I definitely picked it up and used it as an excuse because I played terribly there. No, I'm prepping a movie about Ben Hogan, which is or maybe a miniseries, which it would be even better.
The wrestler?
No,
I'm
Ben. I was like, "There's a wrestler named Ben Hogan." No, one of the greatest golfers of all time. Yeah, but anyway,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's the next thing I'm working on, and I'm writing a movie called. I'm not even gonna say it. No,
Now I really want to hear it.
it's called Ritalin Raccoon. Think
Oh.
of the fun that you had when you watched Cocaine Bear. I'm just gonna assume you watched Cocaine Bear, and stuff like that in Sharknado. It's that meets like a little bit of what is it, Hangover, like a version of that with the AI that comes along with making animals talk to humans.
What's it called again?
Ritalin Raccoon.
I loved it. I'm in. All right.
Awesome.
Okay, play us out, Peyton. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. Make sure you follow at the Jake Lockett for all his latest updates on what he's doing, where he's going. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment below, hit the bell icon. Helps with the algorithm. Really appreciate you guys. Always remember to listen, think, and then talk. Bye.